Today, we're going to be designing a castle in Blender. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to model the castle. I'm going to show you a bunch of tips and tricks that I use to actually make modeling a whole lot easier. And in the final render, you should have something that looks kind of like this. I'm really excited to get into it today, so let's jump straight into Blender. Alright, so here we are in Blender. As you can see, we have the camera here, and then we also have the light here. If you just look over the side here, you will see what controls I'm doing if I go Shift A and anything like that. So if you're confused about what I'm saying, you can just look on the side here. So I'm going to be showing you a bunch of tips and tricks so that we can create this castle game asset. And we're going to start by actually deleting the camera, and you can hold Shift and also delete the light, and you can press X to delete them. We're going to start with the starting cube just there, and I'm just scrolling in and out and also holding Control while I do that. You can't see me scrolling there because I'm using a magic mouse, but I'm just using the scroll wheel. So starting cube, we're going to go G, and we're going to scale it down along the Z, just like that. So we just want a platform for it. What we're going to do is we're going to right click, and we're going to subdivide it about 5 times, which looks great. We're going to press 1 so that we are in front view, and we're going to go Option Z or Alt Z for you, and it's going to pull in X-ray mode. We're going to select the top vertices just like that. We're going to go Shift D and then P to separate selection. Now what we've done, if we turn off X-ray mode, is we have 2 separate objects. So we have that one and just that one there as well. So we're just going to add a couple modifiers. We'll add the subdivision modifier to the bottom one, and then it just rounds it out just like that. So that's the look we're going for. We're going to shade it smooth. And we're also going to do that for the second one. Now the top part is actually going to be grass. So we can actually go in and make it however you like. You can select these vertices here, and you can extrude them down if you want to, just like that. And then you can go to the next side, and you can do that. So however you want your grass to look. So I'm just going to go around like this, and that's kind of what I want my grass to look like. I've just messed that bit up there, so I'm just going to go X, and I'm just going to delete those vertices, and it just pulls it back up like that. I'm also wanting this to be maybe a little bit rounder, so I might pull it down just like that. So that is what we are looking like for the grass. And then I'm just going to right click and shade it smooth. Now the grass doesn't have a lot of depth to it, so what I'm wanting to do is I'm firstly going to bring it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to add in the solidify modifier, and we want to actually pull it above the subdivision modifier so that it doesn't look so strange. So we can either pull it out or we can pull it in, and we can just like scale it. Whatever way you want to do it and however you want it to look. I'm quite happy with that, and I might actually turn up the levels in the viewport just one more, just to smooth it out just a little bit more. So it kind of looks a little bit like icing. It is going to end up being grass though. So you can go back in and you can fiddle around with these vertices, make them more rounded if you want to, and do whatever you would like. Alright, so now we have the grass. We are going to make the castle. So I'm first going to select this base, and I'm going to go add it to a new collection, and we are going to call this base. And then we can just see on the right hand side, we can easily go in and select the base, just like that. We're going to select back on collection, we're going to go Shift A, and we are going to add in a cube. We're going to scale it down, we're going to bring it up, and we probably want it about there. We're going to scale it down just a little bit and scale it out just like that. Now we're going to play around with a lot of this, so we're just going to leave it there for now. So now I'm going to show you my biggest tips and tricks to make the fortress. So we're going to go in Shift A, we're going to add in a cylinder, we're going to scale it, you can press 1, we're going to scale it down, I'm going to bring it across, it's a little big I think, press 3, and then we can bring it back along the Y, just like that. We can see how big it actually is. I'm going to scale it down just a little bit more, and then bring it down I think, just about there. Press 7 and see what it is looking like. I'm going to go into slash mode so we can actually add a little bit more definition to this. Then we're going to tab in to edit mode, and we are going to add in a couple loop cuts. So we're going to add in a loop cut up here, and we're going to add in a loop cut just down here. We're going to select the bottom ring and the top ring, and we're going to turn on proportional editing. Make sure it is on smooth. We're going to go G, and then we're going to scale it out just there, and then we're just going to select the bottom one. We're just going to scroll down the wheel. If you can't see this big circle, just scroll up or down. If you've scrolled all the way down, you can't see it, scroll all the way up. It should be there. And we're just going to scale it out. I'm also going to add in another loop cut there. Just scale that one out. Just something like that. I'm going to add in a ring cut in the middle. Press 1, and I'm going to scale that one in just a little bit. At this point, I'm going to add in a subdivision modifier and just turn up the levels a couple of times. I'm going to select the bottom face and change the face select up here. And then I'm going to inset it and then extrude and scale. I'm also going to do that with the top. So we're just going to inset it to about here and then extrude and scale to about there. All right, so now I'm just going to keep going in and shaping it. I want to add another loop cut about there, scale it in, and just kind of play around with what you're wanting this to look like. See, I might even think that I want it just a little bit bulged. And then scale this one. So you can really make them however you like. If you look up a reference image and you really like a castle, and you can make it just like that. We're going to go in and make the top of this now. Turn off proportional editing, turn on the face select, and we're going to select every second one. Just like this. I'm going to select one, so we're going to extrude it up to about here, extrude it up again to about here, extrude it up again, maybe even one more time, so that they look just like that. You can shade that smooth for now. We can go back in and edit it later as well if you want it to be just a little bit different. But I'm going to press slash to bring us out of isolation mode, and then I'm just going to maybe scale it down a little bit. So it's just looking a little bit ridiculous. So shade it smooth, and we're just going to scale it down. And then I'm going to move it down, move it to the side. We're going to add the array modifier. And I'm just going to pull it along there, press 7 so we can actually see what we're doing. And we want it to be about there, but we're going to add the array modifier and we're actually going to pull it in the back as well. Just increase that. And we might get it to just sit there. So I'm quite happy with what that is looking like. We're going to select these little pillars again, go Shift D, press 7, and we're going to pull these ones back. We're going to turn off the bottom array modifier. You can press 1 and you can actually bring it up to about here. We want to scale it down and then we're going to bring it down. You can press Control 3 to look at the back to see what you're doing. And we want to bring it in just a little bit. It's actually pretty perfect. And then I'm just going to change the array just to move it along just there. Alright, so now we have the pillars in the front and then we have the double pillars in the back, which look great. Now we're going to tab into edit mode for the middle one. We're going to go in and subdivide 8 times. And then we're going to go in and select these faces. So what we're going to do is we're going to press I and we're going to inset, and then we're going to extrude up. We're going to extrude up again, and then we're going to extrude up a third time. We're going to add the subdivision modifier to it, turn it up to 2, just like that. And now you have the top here as well. So to do the door, we're just going to put the cursor just about here, which is where we want the door to be, and then turn back onto our normal selection. We're going to go Shift A and we're going to add in a circle, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Scale it. I'm just going to bring it out so we can see what we're doing. We're just going to go into slash mode so we can see what we're doing even more. And then we're going to go into vertice select. Press 1 and we want to select all these vertices, and we want to go SZ0. And then we just want to pull them down. Select all by pressing A and then fill it like that. Now I'm just going to play around with the shape of it just a little bit. But that is what I am going for. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go Shift S, and I'm going to move the cursor back to world origin. I'm just going to press 7, and I'm also just going to move this guy back to the world origin, maybe just behind, just like that. I'm going to tab out. I'm going to add in a cube, scale it down, press 1, and then bring it up, just like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this cube around until we reach the top. Now we're actually going to put this just in the middle, just there. I'm also going to add the bevel modifier to it, just like that. So what you can do is you go Alt D or Option D, it's Option D for me, and you can just duplicate it up as many times as you want. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to rotate it all. So I probably want that one there, and then we probably want another one to be about here. We'll rotate it probably just like that. So now we're going to rotate them. And you can do this however you want. I'm just going to use something a little bit like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these guys. And I'm going to go Control J to join them. Oh, I didn't select that one. Control J to join them all. So we're just going to go in and we're going to add in the mirror modifier. And we just need to go in and apply that rotation and scale. And that is kind of what it's looking like. We're just going to move it a little bit to the center point. And I actually kind of want it to be a little bit more spread out. So I'm going to move these ones just to about there. I'm going to add in a subdivision modifier, and that's kind of like the bricky look we're going for, and I quite like that. So I'm going to probably tab out. I'm going to get rid of the bevel, and we're going to increase the subdivision just like that. And that's how we'll get rid of those little weird creases. I'm going to go A, and then we might... Awesome. I quite like the way that is looking. So what I might do is just duplicate this and just pull it out there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull this back in. I'm going to go to 3. I'm just going to pull it in a little bit just so it overlaps. And then I'm going to tab in, press A, and extrude it back. Just like that. And I might even select all the vertices around, except for the bottom ones. Go Option E or Alt E and extrude the faces along normals. Just pull that out, maybe just a little bit, just like that. We're going to go in and we're going to add in a plane. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees, scale it down, press 1 so we can see what we're doing, and I'm just going to scale it up. And then scale it a little bit in, just a little bit. And I want to pull it to the side. Probably want it to start about here. I'm just going to add the array modifier to it, probably about a 1.1. And then I'm just going to center that. What I'm going to do now is apply the array modifier, and then we can tab into edit mode. Go to vertices select, press 1, and then you can start to pull up those vertices. So I'm just going to pull it out maybe just about here and then add in another couple. Just like that. We're going to apply the array modifier, tab into, and then change the vertice to vertice selection, and we're just going to start to move these around a little bit. So I'm going to go in, we put this one like here, bring this one up, and we're just going to do this for all of it, just something like that. What we can do now is we can just add in a bunch of loop cuts, and then we can select some of them and use the random of proportional editing, and we can just move them just around like that. So I'm just going to add in a few more loop cuts there. Maybe a couple on these ones, and then maybe one up here as well. So I'm just going to get this one, and I'm just going to move them around just a little bit. I'm going to select all of those, and then I'm going to extrude them backwards, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And so you can play around with these vertices however you want to give them a unique look. So I might try to tab in, select them all, Control B to bevel them, and just increase that bevel by scrolling on the wheel, and that is what they're looking like. Okay, I like that a lot better. We'll get rid of whatever was going on there, and then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate, bring them up. We use them for the windows. So this right here is the door. I love how it's looking, and we can also go in and we can add in another plane, and we can do like little barricades on it. So we'll go up, press 1, scale, all the way to the edge, just like that. And then we could maybe add a second one. We're going to tab in, we're going to go turn off proportional editing, go Shift D, bring it down, just like this. Then we're going to add in a bunch of loop cuts. Then we're going to go to proportional editing, make sure it's on random, and go G. And you can just move it around like this. You can turn down the scroll reel if it's like a little bit too dramatic, just like that. I'm going to go A, and we're going to extrude those back as well. And I'm actually going to go A again and just going to pull them back along the Y. Just like that. So that is what those are looking like. We're going to go out of slash mode because this whole time we were in slash mode. And we're actually going to make sure we have everything, and we're going to bring it back. I have lost my barricades in there, and I've lost this part of my door. So I'm just going to bring those out too. This door is currently in my way, so I'm just going to move him away. And then I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to go M, and we're going to call it door so that we don't lose them ever again. I'm going to scale it down, press 1, I'm going to line that up, press 3, I'm going to bring that back, You press 7 as well to try and help you bring that back. Just like that. Now that's a pretty big door for a castle of this size, so either it's for like mice or weird giants. We're going to go in and just make it a little bit smaller. I'm quite happy though with what that is looking like. We're going to go back in with this one that we have. We're going to go slash and we're going to turn it into a window. Go into edit mode, select this bottom one, press L and it'll link it. Now what we could do is we could actually scale it or we could duplicate it. We want to turn off proportional editing and we could scale it a little bit along here. Now the mirror modifier is on, so what I might do is tab out, apply the mirror modifier, so we have something like this, and then link this one, press delete the vertices, link this one down here, link this one down here. I might also delete the vertices on that one because windows are usually shorter than doors, right? So select this one, we want to link that, we're going to delete these vertices too, and I'm going to select this one, link it. If your linking's not working, just keep pressing it, touching the vertices. Sometimes it doesn't like to work very well, but that's okay. We're going to bring this one to about here. Now it is a little crooked. I'm not too worried about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it along the X. Just like this. And then I'm also just going to make it a little bit thicker at the bottom. Just like that. And I might also make it a little thicker here, so it has a little bit of a sill to it. Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the cursor here, because I'm going to bring in a couple more things. We're going to tab out, we're going to go Shift A, and we're going to bring in a circle. Scale it down, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Bring it up, you can actually bring it out a little bit. Tab into edit mode, we want to pull down these vertices, very similar to what we did before, so S, Z, 0, and then we're going to pull them down a little bit, select the whole thing, go back out, you can press 7 and you can line that up. Just like that. As you can see, it's just a little bit too big. Oh, actually that's pretty perfect. I might just scale it a little bit. We're going to tab back in. Press A to select all and F for fill. We're going to go back out and we're going to go Shift A and I'm going to add in another plane and we're going to rotate that 90 degrees, scale it down, pull it back along the Y. And we're going to do the same technique that we actually did for the door, and I love that technique. I use it for a lot of my builds. It's a really fast way to make doors. So we're going to go up, we're going to scale it up all the way to the top. Windows don't have as many pieces of wood across them, so I think just 2, and then it could be more like shutters or something like that. So I might scale it out a little bit, just like that. I'm just going to apply the rotation and scale, and then I'm going to add in the mirror modifier. So I'm just going to tab into edit mode, I'm going to select all of that, and then I'm just going to duplicate it to about here. What we're going to do again is we're just going to bring down these vertices. And you can bring them in a little bit. If you find you need more geometry, you can just add some more geometry in by pressing R. So we could like that, and then we could bring this one down and just have it just like that. And I'm just going to bring down these two as well. Now what we could do is we could just add in some vertices like that, maybe another one here, maybe we add in one up there, and then we could turn on random proportional editing again, and we could just move them around a little bit. So you could select this one, and then you can make it a little bit more of a door. We can go A for all, and then we're going to extrude it. Just like that. And what we're going to actually do, tab back out, we've got this back panel. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to extrude that as well. And then I'm actually going to bring it in. Just like that. So I'm quite happy with what that is looking like. I'm going to hold it all, I'm going to select it all and then press slash to come out of slash mode, and then I'm going to just set the origins back to geometry. I'm going to scale all of this down, press 1, maybe a little higher, and press 7, and just kind of put it on the towers. Press 1 again. So I'm going to place around my windows now. You can place around your windows wherever you want, and I will see you back here. Perfect. So this is what we have. This is what I've done. I've just placed a bunch of windows around everywhere just like that. So I'm wanting to go in and make the courtyard. So we're going to use this, face select, and we're going to extrude it and pull it straight down. Just like that. And we might even add in a loop cut down there just to add a little bit more definition. I need to pull that door a little bit closer, I see. So that is what the courtyard is looking like. And what we can do is we can place some trees in there, or you can really decorate it however you like. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually just pick this up and just pull that closer, just like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple little trees for in here. I'm going to go Shift S, and I'm just going to put the cursor back to the world origin. I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add in just a cylinder. I'm going to have the vertices at 16, and I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to go to slash mode, and then I'm going to maybe pull it up just like there. I'm going to go Shift A and add in a round cube. If you don't have a round cube, you can go up to Edit, Preferences, then you can go into Add-ons, and you can type in Extra Objects, and then you can make sure that is selected, and you can save it just down the bottom. I'm going to go Shift A, add in that round cube, scale them down. So I'm going to go Shift A, add in that round cube, make sure it's 1 radius, and then here's actually a little round cube. I'm going to pull this up to about here, and we're going to make some very cute little trees just like that. I'm going to go Shift A, I'm going to add in another round cube, scale it down. I'm going to scale it along the Y, make it something just like that. Pull it back in, and then I'm just going to maybe flatten, maybe just pull it up. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to select these top vertices. You can go Alt Z for X-ray mode to make sure that you have all the little vertices you want. And I'm just going to turn on proportional editing to smooth. I'm just probably going to try to scale just like that. G and then bring it back a little bit. That is kind of the vibe I am going for. I'm going to add in the subdivision modifier, 2 of them, shade that smooth. I'm going to go Control A, and then I'm just going to apply all those transformations. I'm going to go Shift A and add in the circle curve, bring it in a little bit just there, and then I'm going to also apply the transformations. For this guy, we're going to go in and add the array modifier, and this is my biggest tip and trick for doing trees or anything like that, is to array whatever you're trying to do around a circle. So we're going to turn off relative offset, turn on object offset, and select that circle. We're going to turn it to 5. We're going to go to object properties, and we're going to go 360 divided by 5. And now they are all around just like that. And that is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to apply that array modifier, delete that circle. We're going to go into the trunk, go into edit mode, going to select this face, inset it, and then extrude and scale. And I'm actually going to turn on X-ray mode so I can see, and do that for the top. Just like that. Turn off X-ray mode, we're going to add the subdivision modifier, and then we're going to shade that guy smooth as well. I might pull up this tree just a little bit, add the subdivision modifier to that, and shade that smooth. So I'm quite happy with what this little tree is looking like, and we might just make a couple little variations of him. So we'll select this root system, we'll just Shift D to duplicate, bring it along here. So I might just bring up this part, and then we're just going to go Option D to duplicate, scale, and bring around these bits. We're just going to make a couple little fun trees. So we'll go M for this one, and we'll call this tree 1. We'll go M for this one, and we will call this tree 2, just like that. Perfect. So we're quite happy with what that second tree is looking like as well. I do think this just needs to go a little bit more in. Great, so we can select those and come out of slash mode, and we can actually bring them out so we can actually use them. So I'm going to pull this one in and brush 7, and I'm going to probably pull them into here and make this like a little courtyard, just like that. And I might even make him just a little smaller, just so that I can do a couple of them. And then I'm going to duplicate him, scale him, bring him up a little bit. Probably maybe make him just about there. Perfect. And then I'm going to get this other little tree. Maybe just scale him down. And then I'm just going to place him over here. I probably want the first one just about there. What I'm realizing here is I didn't actually leave myself a lot of space, so I might actually make this platform just a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to go to tree 2, just select it all, bring it out a little bit. So I think I want the tree to be about here. I'm going to duplicate it, bring another one around the back, like scale that one up quite a bit. And then there might be a few in the back as well, so we might put another one just here, just a little off center. So if everything's centered, it looks a little bit strange. Perfect. So now what you can go and do is you can go and you can play around with this castle. You can add in whatever you want, any assets you want to make. I've shown you how to make trees, how to do the pillars and all that type of thing. I'm going to go in now and I'm going to add in all my little extra assets, and then I'm going to show you how to texturize, and then I will show you how to do the lighting, render, and the camera. So it's very exciting, and I will see you once I have finished this. Alright, so I've added in a bunch of assets from my asset library just to decorate the place. You can honestly do whatever you want with this. And I also put a couple little like stools in the courtyard because I think that's very cute. I'm more of a cozy gamer, so this isn't like scary castle land that's haunted. This is like cutesy little castle that's very fun to go to and play. So now I'm going to show you how to texturize everything. When I change the viewport, you'll see some of the stuff is already texturized. And that is because I brought it over from my asset library, but all your stuff will probably be white unless you brought it over from your asset library as well. So we're going to go in and texturize, and I'm very excited about this. Firstly, we're going to save it. So we're going to go over to the shaders tab, zoom all the way in. And before we get into it, you can render in Eevee or cycles. I'm going to show you all of this in Eevee, but I will end up rendering in cycles. If I start to show you the live mode in cycles, you'll feel sick. It's very flashy. So I show you in Eevee, and you can render in Eevee or cycles. So we're going to go here and we're going to go stone, and this will be the stone color. We're going to go in and add a color ramp, and then we're going to also add in a noise texture. Plug the factor into the factor, and then plug the color into the base color just like that. As you can see, we already kind of have a concretey little stone look. So I'm just going to add a couple different stone textures. You can increase the scale if you want to. This would make it really like splotchy, but quite cute. So you could maybe make it 500. I quite like that, and I might just increase the detail a little bit, make it more rough. I don't really want to distort it. I'm going to go in and add that stone color to everything. Don't mind all the other materials that I have. If you don't have them, you shouldn't have them. So stone. Now looking at it, I might just lighten it up a little bit because I do think it is just a little bit dark, but I quite like how that's looking. We're going to select this one, we're going to go new, and we're going to call this stone 2 because this is going to be the second stone. We're going to add in the same little ones there, so color ramp, and then noise, factor into the factor, color into the base color, and I'm going to maybe make this just not as small for the roughness, for the scale, and I probably want it to be dark so it's a little bit contrasted, just like that. I'd increase that scale. I am quite liking that. Now if we put the stone 2 onto these other ones, that should populate. Some of the ones haven't, and that might be because I didn't make them instances of each other, which is completely my bad. But sometimes you forget to do things when you are designing. Here we go, stone 2 for that one, and stone 2 for this little one up here as well. Beautiful. Quite like what is going on there. I'm going to go in and add a wood texture to this. I'm going to call this wood 1, and I'm going to add in the color ramp and the noise. These are my favorite combinations to do. They're just so simple and they're so effective. So factor into the factor, base color into the base color, And it might be like, this doesn't look like wood. We're going to make it wood. So we're going to maybe add that color, and then we're going to add a more orangey, oh yeah, like that. Increase the scale, and then we distort it. When we distort it, it starts to look like wood. So probably a little bit too distorted just there. Increase that detail, increase that roughness. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to go around and just add in that to the other little assets. So wood 1, just like that. And what we can do as well is we have that little back panel. I think I just want to make it, like we could make it light, we could also make it a little dark. I kind of just want it to be brown. I'm just going to call that brown, and I'm just going to go change all the other ones, just like that. Perfect, just like that. And then I might even add in that normal brown color to the front doors there. I'm quite loving how that is looking. What I'm going to do is go on and do the grass. So we might add in a color ramp again. And then we might also just do a Voronoi texture. Plug the distance into the factor, the color into the base color. We probably want it to be F1, smooth F1, just like that. And I'm just going to increase the scale, and then I'm going to do a bunch of different green colors. You can increase the scale however far you want, or if you want just like big plotches, or you want like little pieces of grass, you want it to like look really rough, you could also do the random and then the smoothness as well. So I'm quite happy with just like quite plotchy, just like that. I think that looks very cute. I might even actually like them the way they were. So however you want your grass to look. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to actually change this one. We're going to take that material off. I'm going to add in a new one, and I think we're just going to make it the brown color, increase that roughness. What you could also do is you could add in a gradient, and then you could also add in an X, Y, Z. So I'm just going to have the dirt just kind of like that, just a little bit simple. Now you can go around now and color these however you want. I have a couple wood textures, so I challenge you now to just kind of play around with your wood textures, your texturing, how you want it all to look. And then you can also do the trees, whatever color you want. So I will see you once I have finished all of this. Perfect, so this is what the little castle is looking like. Before we go on to do the lighting, I'm just going to show you another trick. If you don't want this to be so rounded, we can actually get rid of the subdivision modifier, and instead we can add a bevel modifier. And it just gives it more of that textured look, and you can actually put it before the array modifiers. You can increase it just to smooth that out a little bit and have it like that. So whatever way you want to have it is perfectly fine. I'm just going to do the other ones as well in the bevel. Perfect, so this is what it is all looking like. Now we're going to be rendering an Eevee, so we're going to change some of the settings in here. So if you want to render an Eevee, go to Eevee, include ambient inclusion, and bloom, and that are the settings we want to change. Now we want to do the lighting, so we'll go over here to the shading viewport, just save your work. We're going to go Shift A, and we're going to add in a point light. Going to go up, and we're actually going to place it in the back, just about there. And then I'm just going to increase it to about 50, maybe even 100 for now. What that will do is it'll actually just highlight the back of it, make it look more 3D. And I might even put it just to the side a little bit. I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add in a sun, pull that up. Pull that back, pull that across, and you can actually rotate it to be whatever way you want it to be. So I'm going to go 7, I'm going to rotate it up to about there, and then rotate it to the side. Just like that. I'm going to change the color a little bit to an orange, or a little bit of a yellow, just to make it look a little bit more fun, less like flat. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add an area light. Pull it up, pull it across, pull it back, and we're going to rotate it just so it faces just there. I'm going to change it from a square to an eclipse, and then I'm going to scale it out a little bit and then increase that wattage, just like that. Now that's probably a little much, just like that. So I might even increase just like there. We're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a plane, I'm going to bring it down, scale it out, tab and data mode, select this back one, extrude it up, select this back one again, bevel it out, increase it, just like that, and then shade it smooth. Perfect. We're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a camera, press 0 on your numpad, go to view, go to camera to view, and then go around and see how you're wanting it to look. So I think I want mine to be about there and turn off camera to view. At this point, you can go in and start rendering, start to see what it looks like, move things around, and do whatever you want. As you can see on the side just here, I need to change that backdrop a little bit, but I'm quite happy with what it's looking like, so I'm going to play around with it just a little bit more, and then I will show you what it's looking like rendered. So after all of that, let me show you what my one is looking like. I'm really excited to see what you created and what you made, so you can send them over to me or you can tag me on Instagram. But thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will now see you in the next video.